Chapter 1, Introduction to Java. Chapter 2, Variables Assignments. Chapter 3, Branches. Chapter 4, Loops. Chapter 5, Arrays. Chapter 6, User Defined Method. Okay, so chapter from 1 till 6 will be included in your exam 1. Whatever we will cover today from chapter 5, that will be included. Okay, apart from that, I have already published your project. For there are two projects in this course. One is already published, and then it's going to be a final project. So the first project, it's it is for 100 points total. You have to do the programming part, and you have to submit the report of lab 1 and lab 2. You have 3 weeks to work on the project. The project was published yesterday, so it will be due on April 13th till midnight. That is a Monday. Okay, so there are two programs in this project. So make sure you read all the instructions. Make sure you follow all the instruction and then submit first Java file with the screenshot of an output and the report for both the projects. Okay, in this project we're going to use arrays feature and methods, loops, whatever we have done so far, it's going to be used in this project. It's an individual work, so make sure each and every one of you should submit it under the assignment tab here. Okay, so make sure you submit it on time, this project. Fine, you can read it. In case you have any questions, any concerns about the project, feel free to email me, or you can also uh, talk to me. We are meeting in person on April 7th, that is during your exam time. You can talk to me even after the class, after your exam, and then we can uh, I mean, whatever issue you have, please communicate with me. Okay, as of right now, it's pretty simple, straightforward. But then, if you don't understand any part, feel free to email it to me. Okay. And apart from that, for this Thursday, if you remember, I have mentioned in my announcement that we can meet on this Thursday online only for 30 minutes, where we can discuss about the exam. We can review, or I can ask you your questions, any concerns regarding an exam. But that is your choice. If you want it, then only we will be online. If not, then I'm okay not being online too. Okay, but Thursday session, I wanted that it should be a review session for the topics where you still feel less confident about. We can review those topics, we can do some examples based on those topics. But if you feel confident, then it's totally your choice. Okay, so make sure you write it on the chat group that you want class on Thursday or no, so that I know and I'm prepared for it. Okay, and about the exam, I can make so for exam, there will be two sections. First, it's a paper based exam. It is a paper based exam. Okay, that means you don't need a laptop for that. You just need a pen, pencil, eraser, extra paper. If you want to bring calculator, if you want to bring, your choice. Okay, so there are two sections in the exam: multiple choice questions from 1 to 15 approximately questions, where we can have true false also, true false answers, fill in the blank, and some multiple choice questions. Okay, so that is your section 1, multiple choice questions. The second section is short descriptive questions, maybe from 1 to 5 at least, or 6 questions. You will see short descriptive, something similar to that you're already been doing in your Zybox. Okay, so in short descriptive, I can ask you find error and fix the error from the program. Other type of question I ask you, complete the code. So half of the logic will be provided, so you have to complete the code based on the instructions. Okay, I can ask you logical questions like different type of loops, explain with example. Or maybe I can ask you different type of comments, explain with example. Anytime example is missing, points will be deducted. Okay, so make sure if I'm asking you explain the different type of comments, you know there are two types of comments: single line comment, multi-line comment. Explain with an show with an example. Like this is a single line comment, you can write single line comment, single line comment. Fine. And then multi-line comment, show with some examples how this work, what are their syntax. So this is a multi-line comment. Okay, so make sure you explain it with some examples. You can write here like comments are for documentations and everything. Okay, so make sure your answers should be descriptive. So these type of questions I can ask you in your exam. Fine. So any other questions, any other concern for exam, anyone? I can paste this on a chat group. Any doubt you think? No doubt? Just write it on a chat group if you have no doubt, no concern, so that I know that you guys are good to go. Perfect. Okay, perfect. So if there's no concern, so let's start with a new chapter and a new topic that is called arrays. So let's understand first what array is all about, why we use arrays in Java programming. So arrays uh, is like a container. Fine. So it's a container. Array is a container that hold multiple values of same data type. As of right now, what you've been doing in the past, We declare int A 10. Then we declare int B 20. Then we declare int C 30. That's what we have been doing. We declare the variable ABC with the value 10, 20, 30. But don't you observe that all these values of A, B, C, they are of same data type. They are of all integer data type. So instead of writing like that, there should be some way or some part, like some logic that all these values of same data type could be held under one variable. Fine. So that concept is called an array. So array is the concept where we can hold multiple values of same data type. So how to declare an array? So there is a way to declare an array. You write data type followed by a square bracket, opening a square bracket, closing a square bracket, and the name of the variable, array variable, that is maybe number, semicolon. So number is your array variable that can hold or multiple values of same data type. I'm keep on repeating same data type because that is very important for you to know that it can only hold multiple values of same data type, not of different data type. Okay. So uh, So this number here is your array variable. Fine. So that is the first step to declare an array. To declare an array, we always use a square bracket. If you will not use this square bracket, if you will write int number, this int number cannot hold multiple values because this number will be considered as a normal variable, not as an array variable. So you have to declare a square bracket. You can write a square bracket here, or you can write it after the number. Doesn't matter, both ways it will work. Okay. So but usually we always declare after the data type so that it show the system that integer is the type, data type. Square bracket is the syntax for creating an array, and number is the array variable. So how to declare array is very first step. Now, once you have declared int number assigned to how you can write the values, you have to use opening a curly bracket and a closing a curly bracket and write 10, 20, 30, followed by the semicolon in the end. So this is called declaration and initialization of an array. Fine. So this is the declaration and initialization of an array. So to initialize an array, you use opening curly bracket, closing curly bracket, followed by a semicolon. And within that, you will write the values, multiple values that you want to hold in number, in your array number, but make sure you separate them with a comma, like 10 comma 20 comma 30. Okay. So that is called a initialization and a declaration of an array. Okay. So your system will automatically understand that you store three values in your number array. Excuse me. uh Somebody is not muted. So I hope you understand the definition of an array, how to declare an array, and how to initialize an array. So this is the declaration part, and this is the initialization part. Next step, declaration and creation of array in memory. So as of right now, you don't know how many values you want to initialize in an array. So you can declare an array and create a space for that number of uh, elements that you want to store in an array in memory. So how you will write it? You will write int. First you will declare int array semicolon. Then you can write array assigned to new. It should be a lowercase. Assigned to new int, and within the square bracket you will write the size. That 5 means number of values or elements you want to store in an array in memory. Fine. So that is the syntax. So you will start with a declaration first. So, and the second step, you will create a space in a memory for five, I'm sorry, 5 elements that you haven't decided it yet. Okay. So that is called declaration and creation of an array in memory. You can also that combine the above two lines into one by writing the data type first, square bracket, array assigned to new int 5 semicolon. So the syntax is data type, square bracket, array variable. New is the keyword that is used for creating a space in a memory. Then data type, square bracket, size, or maybe you can write number of element, semicolon. Fine. So that is the syntax where you can uh, create and declare it together in a one line. Data type, here the data type is integer, square bracket, array variable, you can declare any variable name. Then new keyword, that is a reserve keyword used for storing the data in a memory, followed by data type, opening and closing the square bracket again, and within the square bracket you will write the size or the number of elements that you want to store. Okay, so that is basically the beginning of arrays, the definition of an array, how to declare an array, how to initialize an array, how to declare and create an array in memory. I hope you understand it. I'm gonna copy and paste these notes on a chat group. Now, going to the slide, let's talk about this chapter from the slide. Introduction to an array. Primitive variables are designed to hold only one value at a time. Array allow you to create a collection of like values that are indexed. An array can store any type of data, but only one type of data at a time. Array, it is the list of a data elements. Creating an array is an object, so it needs an object reference. Declare a reference to an array will hold an integer. So example, int square bracket numbers. So this number variable is your array. The next step after you create the array, you assign it its address to the number variable. You create an array that will hold six integers. So you can write number assigned to new int and then a square bracket 6 semicolon. Now array elements are initially initialized as 0 right now because we didn't initialize it. So it will in a memory it will be initialized to 0. Now, how to access an arrays in a memory? All the arrays are at index which always starts from a 0. This is the concept of accessing array elements. Index start at 0 followed by 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it is possible to declare an array reference and create it in the same statement, like int square bracket number assigned to new int square bracket 6 semicolon. Array can be of float data type, char data type, long data type, double data type. Array size must be non-negative numbers. It cannot be a negative number. It can be a literal, it can be a constant or a variable. For example, this is a constant value, final, int, array size assigned to 6. So int number assigned to new int array size. So once it is declared, especially the constant value, array size is fixed and cannot be changed. Now accessing the elements of an array. So arrays is accessed by the reference name followed by a square bracket, and inside a square bracket you write a subscript that identify which element in an array to access. If in this case it is 0, that means you want to access the first element. So it will print out 20 for you. Okay. Array can be treated as any other variable. They are simply accessed by the same name and a subscript. Array subscript can be accessed using a variable and such as a for a loop counter. Array index always start at 0 and continue to array length subtract 1. So if we have int value assigned to new int and in a square bracket we have 10, this means that array would have an index from 0 through 9. Okay, so we can use the concept of for loop that will iterate over all the elements, and you can and it will print it out for you all the elements. We can also use a length function. That length of an array can be obtained via length constant. I will show you with an examples. So let's do an example first before we move to the next step. Any questions, any concerns so far, anyone with arrays? Okay. Okay. So let's go step by step. What is this now? Okay. So the first step will go how to declare an array. So we'll go step by step. Okay. declare and initialize array. So I can write int square bracket num 10, 20, 30, 40 semicolon. So I can write system dot out dot println the elements of an array are system. So if I write system dot out dot println num at index 0, so system dot out dot println num at index 1, num at index 2, num at index 3. So when I run this, it will give me 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay, so it will be 0, 1, 2, 3. Fine. So that is one of the easy way to print the elements of an array. Okay, so how we can access them individually? That is the way to access them individually. If I write here system dot out dot println num at index 5, sorry, 4, what's going to happen? This will throw me an error. So when I run, I'll show you. So this is an exception which is called array index out of bound exception. Index 4 out of bound for the length 4. That means there is no element at index 4. The last element was at index 3, not at index 4. Okay, so that's what I want to show you, the type of an error that can occur if you write a wrong index number. Okay, so run it again, and this will show you 10, 20, 30, 40. So that is one way of declaring and initializing. Next step, I'll show you the another example. Another way is declare and create an array. So you can write int square bracket num1 new int square bracket 5 semicolon. So that is, you are declaring and creating an array, this much space for 5 elements in an array. Next, you can initialize num1 at index 0. The value is 22. Num2 at index 1, 33. Num at index 2, 44. At index 5, 55. Index 4, 66. So you can print the elements of an array. So you just want to print system.out.println num1 at index 3 semicolon. So you just want to print the item which is at index 3. So you can write system.out.println array name followed by a square bracket. Within a square bracket, you will write the index number. Fine. Now you run it and you will get element of an array at index 3 is 55. So yes, it is a 55. Okay, so that is another way of creating and initializing an array. Fine. So that's how that is also another way of initialization. Check this example. If you have any concern, let me know. Okay. So let me copy and paste it. So that is one way. Another way is you can also use the concept of loops to iterate over all the elements and print it for you rather than writing it individually like num at 0, num at 1, 2, or 3. Fine. So I can write for loop here for int I start from 0. Make sure you start from 0, otherwise it will not print the first element. I less than 4. I plus plus. So instead of writing a number 4, system.out.println num at index I. Now instead of writing a number 4, let me show you first. Let's see the output. So it's gonna give you the elements 10, 20, 30, 40. Fine. What if I accidentally write number 5? So if I write number 5 here, run a program, it's gonna give me an exception. Why? Because there is no element at index 5. Fine. Or so to in order to avoid that kind of an errors, Java provide a length function which automatically will get the length from your initializations. Like how many values you have initialized, it will automatically get it through a length function. So you can simply write int I start from 0, I less than num dot length, and then I plus plus, then system.out.println num at index I. So with this function, you don't have to remember the how many elements are stored in an array. Okay, so that is one of the easy way to use the length function in order to avoid any kind of errors. Okay, so that is about the starting point of an array. We can do some other example also. uh, Wait. You can use string name car, and then you can write here maybe Volvo, BMW, whatever, it's just giving me this. So after that, for int I assigned to 0, I less than car dot length, I plus plus, system dot out dot print ln, and then car at index I. Why this is giving an error? Why it is giving an error? Invalid character. Let me know if you guys see any error because I don't see as of right now. Oh, I see. It should be double quotation mark. It was single quotation mark there. Okay, so that is another example
Let's
with
look it up
another
for you.
data type. Okay, so going back, array length, uh, we have already talked about it. Off by one error. It is very easy to be off by one when you're accessing an array. This code has off by one error. There, the equal sign allow the loop to continue on index 100 also, where 99 is the last index number. Okay, so this will bring
Is your life,
or throw
right? Your
array
life is
index
icy.
out of bound exception. Initialization, we have talked about it.
I was
So
trying to
moving
get it.
forward to the next step,
There
multiple
you
arrays can be declared on a same
go. Alright. Bye, Heidi.
on a same
Alright.
line
Goodbye,
also.
y'all.
So we can have int
Take it easy.
array index with the number, code, and score. So, but code and score are simple your variables. They are not an array. So, for an array, you must have this square bracket. Processing data in an array is same way as other variable. So you can have a gross pay at assigned to hour at index 3 multiplied by pay rate. You can have post increment and pre increment work exactly same way with arrays also.
Yeah.
You can have a plus plus score at index 2, which is a pre increment operation, or score at index uh, score at index 4 plus plus, which is a post increment operation. You can also use the arrays in relational operators, like if cost at index 20 is less than index 0. This can be also used for the conditions, like while value at count, while value at index, that is a count, not equal to 0, keep on repeating. Enhanced for loop. So there is a simplified way in arrays also that we can use, and it is named as enhanced for loop. Syntax is for data type element variable
I'm pretty sure he
colon
used assist or
arrays.
whatever. He didn't tell me.
So you can write int number
Well, over
369.
here, I
You
have a
can
note and
use the
everything.
enhance for
And
loop
then he just
for
sent it to
int
do for him.
val colon number print value. So this can also be used instead of a traditional for loop. It's totally a programmer choice.
300 and 300 classes.
The length constant can be used in the loop to provide automatic bounding. So index subscript start at 0 and end at 1 less than array length. You can let the user specify the size of an array. Like in this, how many tests do you have? So you can have user to check the number of
If you go to Fullerton
tests.
College, you could always stop by at
We
the
can
Moen Grill
do
every now
an
and then.
example. Let me do an example where we can taking an input into an array. So first, scanner class, scanner, new scanner, int array,
You could always fix the AS 107 at Fullerton College.
new int 5, system.out.println, enter the 5 numbers, for int I
If you're to go back home.
assigned to 0, I less than array dot length I plus plus, array at index I, sc dot next int. After that,
Even though when we schedule the appointment,
system
put on is there any classes that
dot out dot println, you entered User enter the numbers. Again, you have to use the loop. I'm going to use the enhance for loop. Int num colon array and then print num. Fine. So run a program.
I need to
What
practice on
happened? There
Java,
is
but
an
I haven't
error.
really been putting much focus the
Okay.
last few weeks for it.
So you enter 5 number
Yeah.
10, 20, 30, 40, 50. User enter 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. So that is an example.
Everything freeze.
Okay.
Right
So that is another example of taking input into an array and then printing out the numbers you have entered. The user enter. We can also count number of even or odd or search an elements with an array. We'll do those examples. Reassigning array reference. An array reference can be assigned to another array of same type. You can create an array reference by the number variable, and then you can, for example, first you assign 10 elements that you want to save in an array, but later you decide 5. So what's going to happen with the next 5 numbers? It's going to be garbage collected. So this array get marked for the garbage collection. That means it will be automatically deleted by your system. Copying an array. So it's not easy to copy an array from one array to another array. There is a way to copy an arrays. Fine. So to copy an array, you cannot write array 1 assigned to array 2. This is not gonna copy it. This array 1 hold an address to the array, and array 2 also hold the address. So this is not going to copy the content, it's going to copy the address of an array. Fine. So to copy, you need to copy individually every elements in an array one after the another using the concept of loop. So for example, let's do this example. Not here, there is this example, but I'll do another example too for copying an array. So copying array. So first is int array 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, int array 2. So you will write int array 2 new int array 1 dot length. That means automatically pick up the length of how many elements you want to copy from array 1. Okay, so that is your step 1. Step 2, use the concept of loop to copy each element one by one. So it start at index 0, I less than array 1 dot length, I plus plus, and then array at index I is assigned to array at index array 1 at index I. After that, displaying the copied arrays, you can use for int num colon array2 and then system.out.println. Okay, so let's check whether all the elements are copied or no from array1 to array2. So all the elements are copied from array1 to array2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is the way to copy the elements. There is a proper way to do it. So I'm gonna copy and paste it here. Okay. So copying is done. Passing array elements to a method. So when a single element of an array is passed to a method, it is handled just like any other variable. More often, you will want to write the method to process array data by passing the entire array, not just one element at a time. Fine. So let's do an example how you can pass arrays to a method. So let me show you that example. So first step, you create a method, public, static, int, find sum. Passing inside that int, square bracket, array. Opening and closing curly bracket. Within that, you will write the logic to add the number, sum assigned to 0, for int num colon array, formula to calculate the sum plus assigned to num, and then return sum. Fine. So we created a method to find the sum of arrays. Fine. So this is the logic. Int sum assigned to 0, which means initialize sum to 0. Use a loop to iterate through the arrays. After that, add each element to the sum, and then the last step, return the sum. Fine. So now you can declare here num assigned to 5 or 6, 12, 22, semicolon. So that these are the elements. Int result assigned to find sum, and passing here num, and then printing the result. The sum of an array is result. Fine. So let's run the program. Okay, it shows some error. Run. So the sum of array is 40. So that means 6 plus 12 plus 22, it is 40. So that is an example of passing an array inside a method definition. I hope you understand it. Check this example. If you have any concern, let me know, please.
Let's see. Give me one right now. So things I have one coming up. And I don't have one coming up. But no, well, he is stupid.
You can also return an arrays. Let me copy this and paste it on a chat group. Are you guys understanding it? Yes or no?
It's not too bad. I feel like I had a harder time with the
Okay.
what was it called? The last thing that we went through. Well, I forgot the name of it.
Okay. Please reply on a
Creating
chat
your
group
own
so that I
methods.
know you are
I
understanding
felt like I
it.
had a hard time with that one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Perfect.
That's your
Okay.
sister.
So as of right now, what we did in this example, we just pass arrays as an parameter in a method definition. We can also return an array. So I'm going to do that example too. So let me delete this. Okay. So I will create a method,
Reference it and then.
public static int array, and then opening and closing a curly bracket. So when we are returning, so in this example, we are gonna return an array. So on the method definition, the return type should be followed with a square bracket. Okay, just just to give a heads up that it's gonna return an array. Okay, so that's why we have a square bracket here. I can write create array. Okay, next step, int array assigned to 1 2 3 4 5 semicolon, and then you can return array. Fine, so it's gonna return arrays. Next step, here we can print all those arrays. Int square bracket result assigned to calling a method create array, and then using the concept of loop to iterate over all the elements, num result, and then print num. Fine. So why there is an error? Opening, closing, opening, closing, closing. Why there is an error here? I got it. Okay. So run a program. So it's gonna give me 1 2 3 4 5. So in this we are returning an array. So this is one of the basic example which can return an array. So just want to show here the syntax for defining a method. You have to add a square bracket also, which will show the system that it's gonna return multiple
Yeah, like
values, not a single
for your
value.
anniversary.
Okay,
Whatnot, just put that one.
I'm gonna copy
I
this
keep forgetting the band
and
name, but
paste it on a
the
chat
guy
group.
that says, "I got one thing to say." Three
Okay,
words. Yeah,
going
pretty
back to
much the
lecture
beginning.
slide.
Oh, I love you.
Passing arrays as an argument. Arrays are
I
an
think you'll get some.
object, so their reference can be passed to the method just like
Yeah, that's
other
super cool.
object reference variables. We have done some similar example already.
It was a
Comparing
collaboration
an
there.
array,
Oh,
you
their
cannot
song's clever.
use
I mean,
equal sign here, like if first array equal to second array. This is a mistake again. There is a way to compare two arrays. So step is, this is whole algorithm that you have to follow to compare arrays. So you declare array first, second array, you have a boolean
that
variable
was my shit
array
back in high
equal
school.
to true, int I assigned to 0. So you have to first determine what's the size of arrays. If the size is correct, then move forward. If the size is incorrect, so no comparison, they are not equal. Fine. So if first array dot length not equal to second array dot length, array equals is assigned to false. After that, determine whether they have a same data or not. Fine. So for that, you can use the concept of what we did with the copying. Use the concept of loops to iterate over each element individually with the first array and the second array. Okay, that is one of the possible way. So while array equal and I less than first
Yeah,
array
like these
dot
songs
length,
showed up for me.
if array first
Like
array at
they showed up
index
at the
I
top, like, "Oh,
not
thanks for
equal
fun," and
to
then
second array
it
at
said Chris
index
Crawford
I,
wanted to schedule
so
one for
array
you, so it clicked
equal
it for me,
assigned
and
to
I was like,
false
"Yes."
I plus plus. But if array equals, so the arrays are equal, else they are not equal. So that is a formula, you can say a method, you can say, or an algorithm, you can say. Whenever there is a comparison, you have to use this algorithm as it is, copy and paste it. Okay, there is a way of determining whether two arrays are
Good
similar
for everyone.
or not similar, they are equal or not equal. Okay, there are some useful operations that can be performed with arrays. One of the operation is to find the highest value or the maximum value. So again, this is another formula, or you can say algorithm, or you can say a way to calculate or find highest value. So int number assigned to new int at index 50, int highest assigned to number at index 0. So for int I assigned to 1, I less than number dot length I plus plus. If the number at index I is greater than highest, swap it. So first step in this, what it show that you want to find the highest number from 50 elements. So the first step is you declare an array, create an array of 50 elements. Second step, you just assume that the first element, which is at index 0, is the highest element. So once we start, we assume that highest is number at index 0. After that, we iterate, we check all the elements one by one. If if the element at index 2 or 3 is highest, swap with highest number. So now the new number is whatever is highest. Okay, so it keep on going until and unless we find the highest value. That is the logic for finding the highest value. Similarly, the logic for calculating the smallest minimum or the lowest value, that is int lowest assigned to number at index 0. Again, we assume that the whatever number is at index 0 is the lowest one. Now we start iterating over all the elements one by one. If number at index I is less than the lowest, then swap it. Change that to the lowest number and keep on doing it until and unless we find a lowest number. I'll show you how this work. Okay. We have limited time left. So let's see how much I'll be able to finish this up.
I'm telling you, you're gonna get the
So whatever we
benefits.
will cover today, it will be a part of your exam. Okay. Your first exam. And please, before you guys leave, also write it on a chat group that
Everything
do
she
you
covered today
want
was gonna be on my
a
first
class
exam.
on Thursday or no. If you don't want it, I don't have to be online. It's for you guys. If you want to be, if you want to come, then only I'll show up online. Okay. So, array. So let's do 10, 30, 45,
That's right. No class on
88,
Thursday.
190,
You get
some random
integers.
values. Okay. So we're going to find the minimum, maximum element actually. So we start with int max
Yeah, that's right.
assigned to
Oh,
array at index 0.
we
Use the
no class
concept
on
of
Thursday
loop.
too.
Index at int I at index 0 array dot length I plus plus. If array I is greater than max, max assigned to array at index I. After that, system, the maximum number is max. Run a program, it will give you the maximum number. See, the maximum number is 190. Okay, so that is, again, this is the formula, you can say, or you can say an algorithm or steps to find the maximum value in an array. You just have to exactly copy and paste it. Okay, similarly you can find the lowest value also. Going back to lecture slide. So other operations in arrays are adding. So you can add where you have total assigned to 0, initialize accumulator. For int I assigned to 0, I less than unit dot length, I plus plus, total plus assigned to unit at index I. You can also calculate the average with the formula average assigned to total divided by score dot length. Partially filled arrays. Typically, if the amount of data that an array must hold is unknown, the size the array to the largest expected number of elements, using a counting variable to keep a track of how much valid data is in arrays. So you can use system.out.println, enter a number or -1 to quit, and then keep on entering, and unless and until a user decide that that's all the amount of data they want to uh, insert in that particular array. Arrays and files, we have not done files yet, so I'm going to skip over this. Returning the reference, we have talked about it, that we can return an array in method. So the return type of the method must be declared as an array of the right type. So in this example, public static double and then this square bracket, that means it's going to return an array. So get array method is public static method that return an array of double data type. String array are not limited to primitive data type. A string, an array of string object can be created. We have done some example too of a car. String, square bracket, name, Bill, Susan, Steve, John. And after that, Sean, sorry. A string array is an array of a reference to a string object. If an initialization is not provided, new keyword must be used to create an array. Same concept, we have already talked about it. When an array is created, You can also initialize in this manner: name at index 0, name at index 1, 2, 3. Similar, some everything same like we have done with integer data type. Calling a string method on an array element. Strings must have a several methods like to uppercase, compare to, equal, char at. Each element of a string array is a string object. Method can be used by using the array name and the index as before. So you can write system.out.println name at index 0 dot to uppercase. That means you want to convert the name at index 0 to uppercase letters. Okay. So char letter assigned to name at index 3 dot char at 0 means you just have to get only the first letter, first character from a name at index 3. We can use the length field and the length method. Array have a final field named length. String objects have a method named length to display the length for each string in, held in an string array. So the only difference is with the string, when we are using a length function, just use a parentheses. But for the others, we do not use a parentheses. So sequential search and two-dimensional, we're gonna not talk about this today. It's gonna be too much information. Um, so I think I'm gonna stop here. And based on what we have done, I'm gonna assign you a homework from chapter 5. Pretty much we have done chapter 5, but just few parts are left that we will do after the exam. I mean, whenever we are meeting after the exam. Also, from chapter 6, we haven't done, I didn't give you the array parameters because we haven't touched that topic that time. So I'm going to give you that topic also to work as your homework assignment from chapter 6. So please look into the Zybook homework, which will be due Monday midnight. And you have to start working on your project, which is already published on Canvas. So I'm just repeating everything again. Your project is published on Canvas under module, so make sure it's an individual project. Start looking into the information and start working on it. The due date for your project is April 13th, midnight. And April 7th is your final exam. Not the final exam, sorry, your first exam covering chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. So I already got a reply from two students who don't want a class on Thursday. I want a reply from each and every one of you so that I know that we are holding a class or no. So if you don't want it, I don't want to be online either. Okay. So the class is just for you guys. If you don't want it, I'm fine. I think majority of you are okay not having a class on Thursday. I will upload the review study guide with some set of questions. You can look into it, and that's all. Okay. So thank you so much. That's all for the class today. If in case you have any concern, email me anytime. Okay. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful spring break, and I'll see you in person on April 7th. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.